I'm Kendra Cook, your host for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer for DCTV with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association. That's the special district association responsible for bringing the area free-to-access TV stations over the air by antenna. This is a community TV station. If there's a news story or event information that you would like to share, you can call us and leave a message at 970-677-4119. If you're a business or organization, we welcome you to find out about sponsorship opportunities for banners or video segments run on the channel. This is the Thursday program for July 9th, 2020, DCTV Daily News. So here are a couple of articles and updates on local area administrators and officials with financial issues. Written from the Journal out of Cortez, felony charges have been filed against the former Cortez finance director in the city's embezzlement case. Catherine Moss, age 70, faces one charge of theft and one charge of embezzlement of public property. According to court documents, she allegedly took a total of $68,800.46 from the city of Cortez between the dates of January 1st, 2016 and December 31st, 2018. Her arraignment is scheduled for August 5th. Nearly a year ago, Cortez City Manager John Doherty announced it had been discovered that a former city employee had allegedly embezzled funds from the city. After the announcement, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation launched an investigation into the case, concluding it earlier this year. The issue did complicate finances for the city, which was in the midst of cleaning up 3 years' worth of financial records, which had been muddied by a faulty software conversion in 2016. The CBI, though, asked the city to temporarily freeze this cleanup process while its investigation was underway. Moss served as the city's finance director for over 3 decades, officially retiring in January 2019. Charges were filed on July 2nd by the 22nd Judicial District Attorney's Office. Quote, between and including January 1st, 2016 and December 31st, 2018, Catherine Ann Moss unlawfully, feloniously, and knowingly took a thing of value, namely $68,800.46 in cash of the city of Cortez, the theft charges state. According to 22nd Judicial District Attorney Will First, Moss is being issued a summons to appear at her August 5th arraignment. She could face jail time of between 2 to 6 years, although that could be shortened or extended based on circumstances, and probation could be served as an alternative to imprisonment, First said. And over in Durango, the Herald reports that Durango's former finance director, who is suspected of stealing more than $700,000 from the city of Durango, turned herself into authorities on Wednesday, but quickly bonded out of custody. Julie Brown, age 51, was charged with 4 felonies related to the investigation, including theft of $100,000 or more, but less than $1 million, identity theft, embezzlement of public property, and forgery. A warrant was issued for Brown's arrest early on Wednesday. La Plata County Jail Captain Ed Aber said Brown turned herself in around 2:30 p.m. She was booked, paid her bond, and was released by 3:30 p.m., Aber said. Brown, who became account supervisor in 2003 and then finance director in 2007, is suspected of embezzling upward of $710,000. She was placed on administrative leave October 14th and voluntarily resigned the next day. According to interim city manager Amber Blake, finance staff in October of 2019 brought concerns to her about payments made to a company called Animus Professionals, and an investigation was immediately launched. Blake confronted Brown about the deposits to the company, and she admitted to stealing about $500,000 from the city. According to court records, Brown said, up. I got into a hole and was trying to get out. At that point, we moved forward with notifying the police, Blake said. According to an arrest affidavit, the Durango Police Department on October 16th contacted the Colorado Bureau of Investigations for its assistance. On October 18th, CBI met with Durango Police, which provided documentation that showed Brown had written checks to Animus Professionals and then deposited the money into her personal account. From October 2012 to August of 2019, for instance, authorities had obtained copies of 55 invoices to Animus Professionals totaling $492,422. Court records show Animas Professionals dissolved in 2010 and was owned by Bill Brown, Julie Brown's father-in-law. A CBI spokeswoman on Wednesday declined to comment on the case and said all questions should be directed to 6th Judicial District Attorney Christian Champagne, who did not return calls seeking comment for this article. Records initially showed Brown started to make deposits to Animas Professionals in 2009 and until as recently as 2019. But CBI investigators advised the city to review its accounts prior to 2012, which turned up $210,000 that was stolen beginning in 2003. Brown, who also allegedly used a credit card issued to her by the city of Durango for fraudulent charges, which included the $464 purchase of a round-trip flight to Denver and a $1,384 purchase at Disney Resort. On October 24th, Brown and her Durango-based attorney, Richard J., met with CBI investigators, and she again admitted to stealing an estimated $500,000. When contacted Wednesday, J. said he had no comment on the case. Brown was set to make $134,576 in salary and benefits in 2019, according to the city budget. The city has not yet filled her position, but is actively seeking to do so. Devin Schmidt, the city's grants contract manager, was named interim finance director. The stresses of life can be severe, and both of these cases happened prior to COVID 2020 crisis. Now, let's take a look at the hot local weather ahead. It's sunny out today with a high near 89 degrees expected with southwest winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low around 55 with west-southwest winds 5 to 15 miles an hour. For Friday, warming up another sunny day with a high near 88 degrees. Southeast winds shifting west at 5 to 10 miles an hour. For Friday night, mostly clear and a low around 56 degrees with those west winds continuing at 5 to 10 miles an hour, becoming light and variable for the weekend. And I'll bet it be hot on Saturday with mostly sunny and a high near 92 degrees or more. Calm winds becoming west around 5 miles an hour. Saturday night partly cloudy and a low around 59. And for Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 94 degrees or more. Sunday night partly cloudy with a low around just 61. And nothing looks to be changing now headed into next week with Monday mostly sunny and a high near 93. Monday night mostly cloudy with a low around 62. Tuesday mostly sunny and a high near 93 again. Tuesday night partly cloudy and a low around 61. And now back to the news. Here's more local area news related to the impacts of the past 6 months. Since the coronavirus induced state closures in early of March, practitioners in San Juan County, New Mexico, already working to expand mental health services, have seen an uptick in anxiety and depression related to economic worries. Susan Hodgman, the Behavioral Health Services Director for San Juan County, said all of the community, statewide and national indicators show mental health is going to suffer. She said there has already been heightened reports of anxiety, sadness, grief, and depression related to the coronavirus and the economic downturn. Quote, people are struggling. There's a higher incidence of substance abuse relapse, increase in suicides, and suicide ideation, she said. Quote, behavioral health providers are really hustling to meet those needs. She said that the San Juan County Mental Health Task Force has partnered with local practitioners to talk about suicide support, anxiety, grief, and depression in 5-minute informative videos posted on its Facebook page. Jolene Schneider, executive director of Four Winds Recovery Center in Farmington, said that the need for treatment hasn't lessened, and if anything, the need has increased. Quote, I think for all of us, it's a very stressful time and a good amount of anxiety, she said. If most of us are going through that, it's ever more difficult or even more difficult for people going through the early stages of recovery. San Juan County in general lacks so many resources for mental health that prior to the quarantine and the pandemic, we already were overwhelmed, she said. We've managed it pretty well. The community of professionals have really worked together to fill any of the gaps that have been there. Hodgman also said there have been gaps in mental health services. There's still a lack of providers here in the area, she said. When gas and oil went down, they took a lot of people with them. We're still struggling to build our providers. But, she added, those agency directors and mental health providers in the area have been doing a strong job to provide those necessary services. Quote, I think it's real important for people to recognize that we all have needs and to take care of those, Hodgman said. Here in Dolores County, if you or someone you know is having challenges that are getting to the point of not being able to manage daily life, you can call locally at 970-247-5245. That's 970-247-5245. 5245 or text to 741-741 to talk with someone locally who may be able to make a difference in the outcome. Strengthen family and friends. We are definitely, as humanity, all in this together. If we keep uplifting our fellow residents, a better future is on our horizon. And the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, as part of the CARES Act to help struggling companies manage the COVID crisis economic impact, has been extended to August 8th for more applications. The Durango Herald reports that as businesses struggle to maintain revenue during the pandemic, data released this week by the U.S. Small Business Administration shines a light on which ones received money from the Paycheck Protection Program set up by the CARES Act to stay afloat. Recipients for the loans varied from the La Plata County Humane Society to the Durango Coca-Cola Bottling Company. Both local Native American tribes also received loans. The Sky Ute Casino Resort and the Southern Ute Tribe itself both received loans between $2 million and $5 million. The Ute Mountain Casino Tribal Enterprise received a loan between $2 million and $5 million, and the Ute Mountain Farm and Ranch Enterprise received a loan between $150,000 and $300,000. In total, more than $58 million in small loans below $150,000 were doled out to 1,804 businesses in Southwest Colorado. Another $72 million to $170 million in larger loans were awarded to 192 businesses during the initial 2.5-month period applications were open. The SBA data identify companies by name that received larger loans, but it gives only an approximation of how much was issued. For example, Energy Inspection Services, LLC, and Southwest Health Services received loans between $5 and $10 million. That's a pretty big range. The loans were initially meant to go to companies that were struggling to make payroll and were forgivable if the majority of the money used by the loan was paid towards employee salaries. The Crow Canyon Archaeological Center in Montezuma County was one of the organizations in the area that received a PPP loan to help pay employees' salaries. Quote, "I promised my employees that it was my #1 goal, the health and safety and economic well-being of our staff," said Liz Perry, president and CEO of the nonprofit. "All of our folks, they are participants in the local economy, and so I hope that all of this is hopefully a rising tide that lifts all ships." The center anticipates a revenue shortfall of at least $600,000 as a result of lost contracts with schools and educational groups this year. But a financial restructuring last year to prepare a rainy day fund softened that blow, and the loan has directly paid for 8 weeks of salary for the center's employees, as well as some utility fees. Quote, "We have had 0 layoffs. We have had no employees test positive," Perry said. "We were extremely grateful for the opportunity to apply for the PPP." Tim Walsworth, executive director of the Durango Business Improvement District, said he's worried some businesses, especially sole proprietorships, may have lacked the connections and resources to obtain one of the loans when the program was available. Quote, "It was really hard for them to fit that box that was created so quickly," Walsworth said. "There were certainly some hurdles to overcome, really around getting the loan to be fully forgiven and turned into a grant. Currently, the program requires 60% of the money be used for payroll in order for the loan to be forgiven. Originally, that number was 75%, but concerns from businesses that they couldn't bring on enough staff in time led to changes passed by Congress. A lot of businesses went after that loan because they thought having that loan turn into a grant was a lot easier than they thought it was going to be," Walsworth said. "And now a lot of them have debt on top of the loss of the income from the past few months." PPP applications included questions about race, gender, ethnicity, and veteran status of business owners to ensure loans were distributed to communities and businesses equitably. In May, a report prepared by the Inspector General of the Small Business Administration warned that loan applications from minority-owned businesses disproportionately impacted by the pandemic were not being prioritized like they should have been. The publicly released data on demographics is scarce, but seems broadly reflective of that criticism. Of nearly 2,000 businesses that received loans in Southwest Colorado, only about 15% provided full demographic information. Just 65 business owners who identified themselves as female received loans, compared with 221 who identified as male. The racial breakdown of businesses that received loans in Southwest Colorado shows business owners who received loans were largely white. Of every business owner who reported, quote, race ethnicity, as the Small Business Administration defined the field, 106 were white, 5 were Asian, 5 were Hispanic, and 5 were Native American. One business owner identified as Black or African Black. In a guidance provided with the data, the Small Business Administration noted that not all of the loans listed had been automatically granted forgiveness. An ongoing review process will make that determination and will automatically apply to loans over $2 million. In Dolores County, Region 9 shared data during the recent DCTV meeting that there had been 2 PPP mechanisms in the amount of over $150,000 and less than $500,000 amount, and 4 that requested the funds for less than $150,000. So the guesstimate would be that anywhere between $400,000 to $700,000 of assistance in the form of potentially forgivable loans were issued within Dolores County so far this year. The Durango Herald reported on U.S. nuclear lab investigating a breach at the plutonium facility. Officials at one of the nation's premier nuclear labs are investigating the potential exposure of employees to plutonium. Los Alamos National Laboratory confirmed on Monday that 15 workers were being evaluated after a breach involving a gloved box that was being used to handle the material. The incident happened in June. The area inside the plutonium facility was secured, and there was no risk to public health or safety, lab officials said in a statement sent to the Associated Press. Quote, laboratory employees responded promptly and appropriately and cleared the room in a safe manner, the lab said. It's unknown how long the review will take and what changes might be made to ensure another breach does not happen. Los Alamos is preparing to resume and ramp up production of the plutonium cores used to trigger nuclear weapons. It's facing of a 2026 deadline to begin producing at least 30 cores a year, a mission that has the support of the most senior Democratic members of New Mexico's congressional delegation, as the work is expected to bring jobs and billions of federal dollars to update buildings or construct new factories. The effort has drawn much criticism from nuclear watchdog groups that long have been concerned about the lab's safety record and missed deadlines and repeated cost overruns. State officials also have voiced concerns about the federal government's ability to clean up existing contamination from decades of bomb-making and nuclear research at the lab while generating new waste. To meet a mandate set by the federal government to replace the nuclear stockpile's aging plutonium cores, the work is being shared by Los Alamos and the Savannah River site in South Carolina. Congress is hashing out how much money will be funneled to the 2 sites as part of an ongoing negotiation on the latest defense budget bill. Los Alamos began as a secret city in the mountains of northern New Mexico, where government scientists and the military gathered as part of the Manhattan Project to develop the first atomic bomb, allegedly. Since the 1940s, it has grown into a massive complex. And a side note that it's not too far from the Zorro Ranch, formerly owned by allegedly deceased indicted Jeffrey Epstein, where claims that underground secret laboratories were engaged in genetic programs, and that's just about 50 miles away. So the mission of producing the plutonium cores has been based at Los Alamos for years, but none have been manufactured since 2011, as the lab was dogged by a string of safety lapses. The June 8th incident at the lab's plutonium facility was recently made public in a weekly report by inspectors with an independent safety board that monitors activities at federal labs around the country. According to the report, air monitors sounded when an employee pulled out of the gloves after weighing and packaging plutonium oxide powder. Significant contamination was noted on his protective clothing, hair, and skin. Nasal swabs were positive, and airborne radioactivity was documented in the room. The inspector reported that radiation protection personnel successfully decontaminated the worker and that 14 other workers also were being monitored. And articles and links to stories of local and regional interest are posted on our Facebook page. That's DCTV Daily News, where you can also watch the program replay along with the news links and stories of local interest. And you too can share other events or news there and join in on the conversation. Again, it's your local community TV station, so if you have something that you would like to share, contact us. The email is dcbnnews@gmail.com, or you can call 970-677-4119. Thanks for tuning in to DCTV Daily News. Programs are broadcast Monday through Friday, and replays are online on our YouTube channel or DCTV Daily News page on Facebook. And if you like the program, please do like and follow us on Facebook and share it with your friends and family. This has been a production of DCTV for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado, USA. I'm Kendra Cook. Again, thank you for watching.